Alright, welcome. So it's been about a year since I've last done a KUMBHAKARNA build video, and between that and me playing a lot of KUMBHAKARNA as of recently, you would know if you would catch my streams, I play Kumba and ranked Joust all the time. One of my favorite gods, probably my favorite god of all time. So yeah, I just wanted to do an updated build video for this god, for those of you that might be looking for it, or you can also apply this build to other guardians that are playing in the support role. So let's get right into it. So first, real quickly here, I just want to cover the way I level up KUMBHAKARNA's abilities. Me personally, I love to max out his first ability first, Throwback. It does a large amount of damage, great for securing kills, and there's nothing more satisfying than sniping an enemy that would have gotten away with the flying minion damage. It's great, does a lot of damage, and also honestly makes for a good minion clearing. So like if there's no allies around you to help, clear the minion wave, or nobody to share the XP with, and it's just you just press 1 and you can clear majority of the minions just instantly, just like that, without having to even build into a mage-like build. You can just build your normal support build. So after maxing my 1, I go ahead and max out my 3, the ultimate at every single level that you can, and the last thing I level up is my 2. But enough about the abilities, let's go ahead and go into actually building for KUMBHAKARNA. Now for Conquest, you have 2 different starter items that you can go into. It's either Watcher's Gift or Mark of the Vanguard. Now for me, I play Kumba in Joust a lot, particularly ranked Joust, and for that I go into the starter item called Mark of the Vanguard. It really works for me. The reason why is I'm a very aggressive frontline guardian, support, frontline, or whatever you want to call it. I'm very aggressive, and that early aggression often leads to me getting aggro from the minion waves. And very early game, you'll know this, the minions will hurt you a lot, and Mark the Vanguard just helps kind of mitigate a lot of that damage out. But outside of Conquest and Joust, I actually do not go into a starter item, so I just go straight into boots. So let's just go ahead and begin the build with straight up boots. If you want, you can just imagine to have a starter item in this first item slot, so let's just go into boots first. So for shoes, I just go ahead and go into the shoes with focus, and from here you go into your very first protection item. I feel it kind of varies on what you're trying to do. If you want to rush as much cooldown reduction as you can possible, then this would be a great time to go into the Breastplate of Valor. It's actually fairly cheap and it offers quite a bit of physical protection and of course the cooldown reduction. Now the cap for cooldown reduction is 40%, so when you go ahead and pick up this bad boy here and your CDR boots, you already have 30%. The only downfall to your Breastplate of Valor early on is it offers no health. Your boots offer no health, so you're strictly relying on your own level for your health. Of course, you should know, every time you level up, you get more and more HP. So in this case, for your next item after Breastplate of Valor, you want to make sure it has some health, so that way you can be nice and tanky, not only with high protections, with of course a decent amount of health. And so in this case, you have no magical protection and you have no health. You can't really go wrong with going Hardwood Amulet, which has both, and a really nice aura effect that also applies to you. But that is one way to kind of start your build off if you're going to start off with the Breastplate of Valor. For me, I kind of stopped going into Breastplate of Valor right after boots. I found that I was kind of really missing that health and I really wanted it, and also want to be more of a team player, so I decided to kind of wait on Breastplate of Valor for cooldown reduction and get a different cooldown reduction item down the line. But for now, what I personally do is I go into my Shoes of Focus boots, go into Sovereignty, then I go straight into the Hardwood Amulet, and then last 3 items, it just kind of depends on who I'm fighting against. For example, if I'm fighting against a hunter that is giving me trouble, or I'm fighting one or more basic attack oriented gods that are giving me trouble, then I would most definitely go straight into Midgardian Mail right after my Hardwood Amulet. Now with Midgardian Mail, some may not know with this passive what it does. When you're hit by a basic attack, there's a chance to slow the enemy's movement speed and attack speed by 30% for 2 seconds. So let's say you're walking towards the enemy team and they start basic attacking you. Once they proc this, they're going to be slowed, so it's going to be a lot easier for you to close the distance between you and your target, so that we can easily follow up with a mez, or a groggy strike, or a belly bump them, or ulti them, whatever you need to do. It makes chasing enemies that are fighting back a little bit easier, and once they notice that they've been hit by this debuff, they'll often turn around and just stop attacking you altogether, which is also good, so you can actually survive a bit longer. But let's say I'm fighting against a healer, or one or more guys that have really high health regeneration, like Shock. He presses his 3, he gets a lot of health back. Same with Hercules, he can just get all of his health back through his own abilities. And you really want to kind of shut down the healing from both healing abilities and self-regeneration. then there's a good item to go into that, and that would be definitely Pestilence. The thing with anti-healing, you don't want to wait too late until it's too late, where even if you get anti-healing, you can't really win the game. You want to get your anti-healing as early as you can. So for this case, if I'm fighting against a healer team, I would not go into Hard Amulet just yet. Instead, I would go into Pestilence. And then if I still need a Hard Amulet, I'll pick it up later on in the build. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and sell Pestilence and just keep with the Hard Amulet. And I'm just going to stick with Midgardian Mail. Now, another magical protection item that I kind of pick up as a flavor pick, like let's say if I'm in the lead, I'm snowballing, haven't really died at all, have a decent amount of kills and assists or whatever the case might be, I have a lead, then I'll go ahead and go into Void Stone and kind of exploit that level lead that I have over my opponents, so my abilities would do more damage because I'm higher level. And then of course the Void Stone gives you more magical power, and the artifact is nice. It kind of acts like penetration, right? You're lowering the magical protection of your enemies so that way you can do more ability damage yourself, and it's a pretty fun item to pick up. But let's say you're fighting against a snowballing Scylla that's just out of control, super fed, and Hard Amulet is not doing enough by itself, then feel free to stack on another magical protection item. The next best bet after Hard Amulet would definitely be Borg of Hope, of course, if you don't already have Pestilence for the anti-healer. So these are two best magical protection items just for protecting yourself, Borg of Hope and Hard Amulet. Now, if that is not the case, then what I often do in either this 5th or 6th item slot, I'll often go into Mantle of Discord. A couple reasons why I get it towards the end. Yes, it does give you cooldown reduction, and ideally you want to get CDR as early as possible. However, Mantle of Discord is a very expensive item, 3,100 gold. So if you try building this early on, it's going to take you a very long time to build into it. So while you're trying to invest into a very high cost item early on, you're going to be behind it in your build compared to the enemy god. So the enemy support is going to have more items than you, they're going to be tankier than you. And so that's why I kind of want to wait towards the late game to start actually building into this item. But besides all that, Mantle of Discord is actually one of my core and favorite items to have towards the late end of my build. Not only does it offer you a lot of both physical and magic protection, but the cooldown reduction, it's really hard to pass CDR on Kumbhakarna. That's the same reason why you go into CDR boots. So I often go into this item towards the end of my build. And then of course, you have one extra item slot. Now, not too often do you actually get to finish your build as a support, so you want to pick your items wisely while you can. But in the case if I do have this extra item slot, again, what I feel is the whole concept behind building for a Guardian support is just counter building and just building to the situation at hand for your match. Not every match do you need to build a Midgardian Mail, for example. So the last item, I build whatever I need. If I need more magic protection, I go into that. If I need more power for whatever reason, I'll just go into Void Stone to have more fun with that. And don't forget about Height of the Dominion Lion. This could be a very useful item when you're fighting against gods that are building into crit. So if you're building into like a Rage, Deathbringer, etc., multiple crit items, this is a really good item to help reflect all that high crit damage back at the target. And it's just fun just seeing people just kill themselves while they're hitting you constantly. And it also offers you a lot of physical protection. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and just go into something like Void Stone just to end off the build. Now let's go into relics real quickly here. Now my favorite relic to go into is definitely Meditation. This is definitely a lifesaver. You can also use it to bait out enemies. By that, what I mean is, let's say you or your teammate is low on health and so is the enemy, but the enemy wants to try be kind of slick and see if they can kill you before you kill them. Well, they come at you, you pop Meditation, you turn the fight, you win the fight. But not all the time can you build Meditation as your very first relic. Sometimes, like let's say if you have a healer on your team. Well, the chances are if you have a healer on your team, the enemy team is going to build into a relic called Curse to kind of slow your healer down and of course also reduce their healing. Now, of course, the counter to Curse is Sprint. So you might want to build Sprint, so that way if they try to use Curse on your healer, they can sprint out of it and just be immune to all that nonsense. And of course, if the enemy team has a healer and you want to kind of stop that healing, then you might want to go into Curse, and hopefully that they don't go into Sprint or bait out their sprint first and then use your Curse. But yeah, these are my 3 top relics to go into: Meditation, Sprint, Curse. Sometimes Shell can be useful. It's all about timing this. Don't forget about Phantom when you're fighting against gods that place structures, most notably Odin. So if you're fighting against an Odin, make sure you bring this along with you. And yeah, that's going to go ahead and actually end the video. Might have been a little bit lengthy than I might have wanted to, but hopefully it was helpful for those that are looking for a Kumbhakarna build or just a overall support build that you can apply onto other Guardians yourself. So that's going to wrap it up for the video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.